Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video we are back with another viewer suggestion, and this viewer suggestion came from Ahmed BS8383, and he wants me to turn the map 4 circles into an expert map. So this one should be pretty difficult because, I mean, you guys know 4 circles. It's a super easy map because it has like the 4 circles, so it should be pretty tough to make it into a harder version of that map. Now the first thing is we're gonna make it the basic green background. We're not gonna go too crazy with it. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to get the pathway set up. Now I'm looking at the map and I'm trying to like think of what way I could turn this into an expert map. Now if I like make it the 4 circles to where they connect in the middle, it's gonna be super easy unless I remove that middle path, that middle like section where you could place towers. So if I remove that section, and then up here in the top left, if I have one path coming here, one path coming down here, another path coming down here, and then a 4th pathway coming down here, and then they'll circle through the pathways. Like it'll come down, it'll circle around, and then exit up here, and then exit up in the top. I think that's like the only thing that I can do to make this a little bit harder, but it needs to be beatable. So let me go ahead and try that really quick to see if that's actually possible. So this is the idea that I had in my head. Like, I thought this looked really good, or like, I thought this was like a pretty solid idea. So what I wanted was like the pathways like coming down here. What I wanted was like the pathways to come down here, circle up around, and then exit through the same pathway where they came in on. Like, I think this is like the only thing that I can do to really make this map hard. Then of course I'll remove the center bit as well. So let me get this pathway, or let me get these pathways cleaned up really quick. All right, so I have 2 of the pathways looking pretty uniform. Like, obviously it's not going to be perfect because, I mean, like, trying to like make a perfect map up here just isn't going to work out. But I think this is going to be like the best I can do so far. Let me see here. So now we need to work on these bottom 4 circles. And so far, like, the hardest thing I'm having are like the pathways that like come in around the circle and then exit in the same spot. That's the hardest part I'm having right now. All right, guys, I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything, but I think this turned out pretty nice. Well, as nice as I can actually make it be. I mean, like, it doesn't look perfect, but at least it's a map. All right, now's the next thing I want to do. Let's go ahead and block off this middle pathway from being able to like place towers. So we'll make it so no towers can be placed here, and then of course we'll add like a couple of props as well. And then this should make this map way harder. If we're not able to like place the towers in the middle here. The only thing I'm worried about is if it's gonna be too hard. Because if it's too hard, then obviously you're not gonna be able to beat it, because you want to be able to start off with like a triple dart monkey start. So let's go ahead and give it a quick test. And then a tower that like people usually use on maps like, or like expert maps are like Quincy. We could always use like maybe Etienne, but I want to try Quincy first to see if like Quincy has enough poppy power to deal with it. All right, let's see how Quincy does against round 6. Not even close. All right, let's see how a triple dart monkey start works. This is the thing that I'm really worried about, because I don't know if a triple dart monkey is gonna work here. Like, I think it'll work, it's just gonna be difficult, which is supposed to be, which is what a expert map is supposed to be. It's supposed to be difficult. So if we do dart monkey here, dart monkey here, dart monkey here, this dart monkey is gonna be like the one that's gonna like come in clutch. So let's leave this one on targeting last. Okay, I think it'll work. Let's add a couple of water features in here as well. Also let me like mess with this side of the track, because this side of the track looks a little bit weird. And then I think for the most part, like I was saying, this is gonna be like the best that we can get it. All right, I think I fixed the little bump that was over here. And then let me go ahead and mess with this one down here just a little bit more, because it looks a little bit out of place, a little bit too out of place, which is what I don't want. Let me go ahead and like rotate it like this. No, that doesn't look good. Maybe if I do this, and then rotate this one down a little bit, And oh man, this one here is like the small details are really starting to bother me. I think I'll have to add this some like props, like take away from those small imperfections, because the small imperfections will get me every single time. All right, and then let's go ahead and like turn this into a water feature down here, and then maybe a monkey sub will work. Maybe if we use like a monkey sub, that'll be enough. All right, there we go. We have the 2 water features on the map. Now, the next thing I want to do, let's go ahead and add a little bit of detail around these water features. We'll use the same trick that we used a couple maps ago, where we used like those small like flat rocks to add a little bit of detail around the corner, because we want to make them seem like they're pools. Even though like we don't have like a perfect representation of like the track, I think it'll still look pretty good, because I don't want to turn these into ponds, because if I turn them into ponds, I'll have to add like a bunch of trees, and that's something that I really don't want to do. There we go. We have the first one down, and that actually looks pretty good. It adds a little bit of a life around the pond, where the pond like looks a little bit bland without this stuff. So by doing this, it like helps us out a lot with like not needing to add as much detail, and it also helps with like fixing small mistakes. There we go. And I think that really makes our map come to life a little bit more, and it fixes a couple of the mistakes that we had with the pool, where it wasn't like perfectly lined up with the track. So I think that looks pretty good. Now the next thing we want to do, let's go ahead and add a little bit of life on the outside of the track. And what we'll do to add a little bit of life is we'll add some like spruce trees. So we'll add these like spruce trees all along the outside of the track, and we'll leave like small spots open to like throw down like a tower if you need to. Like you should have enough area here to like throw down a spike factory. Let me just go ahead and double make sure that you have enough room to like place down a spike factory. But I just want to make sure like you have ample room to like place down towers, in case you like have a strategy in mind that you need a little bit more room to place. Also, we'll leave these spots open on both sides of the track. That way you can go ahead and position towers here as well. And now that we have all of these spruce trees placed down, the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and like alternate some of the sizes, because not all like trees are going to be the same exact size. So to add a little bit of like small detail, we'll go ahead and like make some of them bigger, some of them smaller, and this will really bring our life to, this will really bring our map to life a little bit more, because the small details like this that can really make or break your map. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and work on covering up some of the mistakes over here. And one thing that I know works is if we like grab a couple of shrubs. I know I use a lot of shrubs with my maps, but there's really nothing else that we can really use in its place right now. So I'll be a shrubby boy for a little bit longer. But by adding these shrubs, we took away the little imperfections that we had in the corners here, which is exactly what I was going for. So now we need to go ahead and add some more shrubs, because like just having these couple of shrubs around really doesn't make too much sense. It doesn't look the best. We'll add ourselves a couple of smaller shrubs around the shrubs or throughout the map, and this will really add a lot of detail, and it'll also make it seem like the shrubs belong there, and it'll make them blend in a little bit more where we have the shrubs placed. All right, so adding those shrubs really made this map seem together a bit more. All right, now the next thing we want to do, let's go ahead, come over here to the stamps icon, and then we'll add a little bit of detail to these ponds. Because these ponds, even though we added the outline to them, they still look a little bit out of place. So let's add a sunspot here. We'll add a sunspot down here. Let's add another one. We'll add one more in this one, and then let's go ahead and grab some leafy greens, and then we'll place like leafy greens in the corner like this, and I think that really adds a lot to our map. Let's also add some purple flowers as well. I just need to get them to face the right direction. This one here, and then I need the leafy greens like kind of similar to the way they're facing there. Perfect. And that adds a little bit of a detail to this small pond, like some leaves like came in, they collected in the small pond right there, and that really adds a lot of detail to our map. Now, of course, we're gonna need to add some flowers as well, because right now that bright green background is seeming a little bit out of place. So let's add some flowers to like add a little bit of detail to our map. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to mix in a little bit of color with some yellow flowers, because right now the white flowers are looking good, but there's just like too white. So if we add in a couple of these yellow flowers, it'll kind of like break up all of the white flowers and give us a little bit of a better look. There we go. And then I want to add a little bit more detail with like these green spots, and this will add a little bit of contrast to our map as well. There we go. The only question is, do I have too many flowers? Let me go ahead and remove that one. Let's remove this one up here. Let's remove that one right there. Then let's remove this one. Let's remove this one right here. And then we'll go ahead and like remove a couple of flowers to kind of not be overwhelmed with flowers, because you can always have too much of a good thing. All right, and there we go, and there we go. Perfect. So I think that looks a little bit better. Let me go ahead and add a little bit more flowers over here though, because that place was looking a little bit barren. All right, now what do we want to add in the center of the map to make the map come to life a little bit more? Because right now it's just like a barren spot. So I'm thinking about like adding a tree stump. If we add a tree stump in the center of the map, and then like if people can't like place towers, and they'll think that the whole reason why they can't place towers is of course because of the tree stump. All right, so here's our tree stump. Let's go ahead and make it as big as we can. And then to add a little bit of extra detail to our tree stump, we'll go ahead and take this prop right here. And then we'll like make it seem like this prop is like a part of the actual trunk itself. There we go. I think that tree stump looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of extra detail around the trunk itself, because right now it's just like a tree stump out in the middle of nowhere. So we'll add like one or a couple of these flowers like this, and I think that would make the tree stump look a little bit better. Not the best. Maybe we'll use like a different one. Maybe if we use like this flower, it'll add a little bit of a different color, and it'll also add a little bit of detail around the tree. All right, I think that looks pretty good. What else can we add to add a little bit more detail around the tree? Maybe if we add like some grassy bits. The only problem with these grassy bits, I don't want them touching the track, because if they're touching the track, then it'll look a little bit weird. But I think that should be fine. Now, is there anything else that we can really add to bring this map to life a little bit more? First, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and give a quick test to our map. So I went ahead and I made it so you can like place a monkey sub here. So we place like a monkey sub here. We throw like a dart monkey up here. Is this gonna be enough? I don't think it is. It worked. It worked. That's perfect. So the monkey sub worked. So as long as we can get like past round 6, then I don't think anybody's gonna have an issue with like actually beating this map. We need, okay. There we go. We beat round 6. Let's go ahead and we'll grab ourselves like another dart monkey here. And this will give us a little bit more popping power. Oh my goodness, it's working. It's working, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and fast forward this. And then I don't want to go like too far in chimps, because I don't want to give you guys the solution, but that's not bad. That's not bad at all. All right. So now the next thing I want to do is, right now the pathway seems a little bit out of place. That's one thing I want to fix. So if I use this and I put it underneath the track, will the shade look good? Let me go ahead and take a look at the layers really quick. So stamps underneath the pathway. That adds a little bit of a detail behind the map, which is what I was going for. All right, let's go ahead and add the shade around the map, because it looks a little bit weird with it just like being there. And this is like the next best thing that I can do, opposed to like designing my own path. And that just adds a little bit of a depth to our map, which is what I was going for. Because the map, the way that it was, it just looked a little bit out of place, and I didn't want it to look out of place. I guess like I was saying, the next best thing that I could have done is I could have designed my own pathway. But I kind of wanted to like stick with this pathway, kind of true to the original 4 circles. Actually, you know what? I'm looking at it, and let's just go ahead and get rid of it. Like, I thought it looked good, but the more I look at it, the worse it looks. So let me go ahead and get rid of this. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have like the shade around the pathway. And I don't think I have any props where I can actually make this look like a legit pathway. Maybe instead, we'll come over here to stamps. We'll add a layer, and then we'll like throw some like, wait, do we have any leaves that we can like throw on top of the track? I don't think we do. We have these. It adds a little bit of color to our trackway, which I think it looks kind of cool. Let me turn on the randomizer option again. And then let's see if we can like get this looking decent. There we go. Unfortunately, well, actually, I think there might be a couple of different props that I can use with this pathway. But for the most part, I don't want to go like too crazy, but I do want to add this little bit of detail because right now it just looks a little bit too bland. But if I add too much, then I have a feeling that it's not going to look as good as I want it to look. Oh man, I like it, but at the same time, I don't. What about a different path? I guess that looks kind of cool, right? Like, I think that looks kind of cool. Let me replace all the paths with this. Like, obviously you're gonna have a little issues here, but for the most part, that doesn't look too bad. Let me go ahead and remove all of these green things because these green things are kind of taken away from the pathway. Plus I really like that rough feel with this pathway. I feel like this path belongs a little bit more. I need to go ahead and replace the thing that I just deleted right here, and I like that way better. What if I make the pathway a little bit smaller? Like, is it still gonna connect correctly? It is, and I like the way that looks. Now let's go ahead and start adding a little bit of shade. Like, I'm looking at this map, and it's just like, it feels like there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. Like, that didn't help at all. Maybe if I add like a couple more props around on the map, it'll make me feel a little bit better. Let me see. So, what if we add like a log? Like if we throw like a log up here, we rotate it, we make it a little bit bigger, we tilt it this way, and then we do this, and then we add like ourselves another log over here. We do the same thing, and this will add a little bit more detail to our map, which is what I feel like is lacking right now. And then like in the middle of these circles, like I know the original 4 circles there's nothing in the middle, but it has like its own theme. So it makes sense like you don't have anything in the middle of the pathway. But this being in like the middle of the forest, I want it to have a little bit more of a forest feel. So I'm gonna have to add something to the middle of these 2 pathways to like kind of even it out. All right, there we go. That really made this map come to life a little bit more, which is what I was going for. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of shade around these rocks, as well as the tree's trunk. That way it makes it seem like they belong a little bit more. I ended up doing a double there, so I need to go ahead and remove that, and there we go. Now I want to add a little bit of like shrubs around this tree stump though, because right now the tree stump just doesn't look like it properly belongs. But if we add a couple of shrubby boys, it'll make it seem like the tree stump belongs a little bit more, which is what I'm going for. And then we also need to add a couple of shrubby boys around these rocks to make the rocks seem like they belong too. And then I'm not gonna go like crazy with the shrubs. We'll add like a couple, and then after we add a couple, we'll grab ourselves a couple of smaller ones as well. And that should look pretty good. Man, it's crazy how when you just add like a couple of shrubs, it really makes your map pop. I'm debating on whether or not I want to go ahead and remove the shade around this. Let me go ahead and remove the shade. And then let me go ahead and grab the smaller shade, and then we'll just add like a little bit of a smaller shade over here and a little bit over here as well. And I think that looks good. That looks way better now that we've added these 2 logs as well as the 2 rocks. Like, it added that detail that I felt like it was missing. But all right, dudes, I think for the most part, we are done with the actual map building process. The only thing left to do is to add the background effect, and of course we need to add ourselves some music. For the music, let's just go ahead. Let's do synthwave. Synthwave sounds pretty good. And now, of course, the last thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and rename our map. And then after we rename our map, of course, we need to go ahead and beat our map. So the name of this map is going to be Expert 4 Circles. Or do we want to call it True 4 Circles? Let's just call it Expert 4 Circles. All right, and then I'm going to swap it over to Easy Standard because, of course, I would play on Chimps, but I don't want to give you guys a solution because I want to see if you guys can actually beat this map on Chimps yourselves. So, of course, the first thing we'll do is we'll start off with the Dart Monkey place right here, and because we start off with so much money, Let's also grab our Quincy, and then we'll grab quick shots, and then this should be enough to deal with the first couple of rounds. And while I have you guys here again, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the series. You guys are absolutely crushing it. And again, a big shout out to Ahmed BS8383 for giving me the inspiration to come up with an expert version of 4 circles. So this was a really unique project. I feel like I could have done a little bit better. Maybe with the next expert map I make and stuff, maybe I'll actually make my own pathway, because I like the way this pathway looks, but I think I may have been able to do a little bit of a better job if I just made the pathway myself. But again, guys, please feel free to let me know in the comments below if you guys have any really cool ideas for maps that you guys would like to see me do. Because right now, I'm really liking the ideas that you guys are giving me in the comments, and they're giving me a lot of inspiration as well. All right, so this tree stump in the middle of the map is working out perfectly. I didn't want it to like block the sight lines, but I wanted to make it so you couldn't place towers there. And that's the only thing that tree stump was supposed to do. But I don't know, guys. Like, let me know in the comments below if you guys think this map is too easy, or if it's too hard, or if it's just the right fit in between, like too hard and too easy, especially for an expert map. All right, so here we are on round 40, and we were able to deal with the Moab balloons with little to no issues. Man, I really like the way that this map turned out. I don't think it's going to be impossible to beat on Chimps, but I think it's going to be an expert version, which is exactly what I was going for. So if you guys would like to try this map for yourself, here is the code. And again, let me know if you guys beat it on Chimps. And if you guys did beat it on Chimps, what strategy did you guys use to beat it? But again, dudes, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.